Glad to have you here, Nick. Welcome.
Thank you, Gaspar. I'm glad to be here.
So the concept is traction stories. So I ask entrepreneurs, B2B SaaS founders on how they got some traction for the SaaS in the early stages, go to market, growth, depending on what stage they're at. And I ask a few questions with my product marketing lens. So really about the positioning aspect, the strategy behind it, and to understand more how you did what you did. And you're the founder of Face to Face. So maybe we can start from there. What is Face to Face?
Face-to-face it's a software which allows you to talk face-to-face with your users inside your app or on your website. You can think traditionally the way that you would get on a call with someone is you would go and book a meeting in their calendar, or God forbid, you would submit a form and wait for them to call you back. We get rid of that process completely by allowing you to click a button and call their team. Their team gets notified in Slack and they can jump in and you can have a video call directly inside the app or on the website.
And does anyone can book a call on the website? Or do you have some kind of, uh, is it accessible to everyone, the CTA?
No, so I'll give you an example since we're talking about SaaS. So I'll show you the SaaS example. When you're inside a SaaS free trial motion, for example, and you're trying to improve the number of people who convert from free to paid, what you would do typically is you would segment it a couple different ways. Assuming you don't have a lot of trials, you could just say, okay, anyone who's on a free trial, show them a button, show them a pop-up, and you can decide when to who you want to show it and with what messaging. And if you have a lot of trials, say you have 2,000 free trial signups per month, you want to make sure that you only talk to the ones who are most likely to be your high ticket ICP. You can then enrich those and you can essentially tier them up and decide who you want to engage. So we can do very advanced levels of segmenting. Yeah. Or we can do a very simple implementation. Depends on what you need.
So you do all of this analytics, like a monitoring and understanding of the website visitors or app user. And for your just every visitors in general, or even for specific accounts. And depending on if they fit the criteria you set on, they can see the CTA that allows them to book a call immediately, like to call your sales rep or your product guys. And
Yeah, exactly.
okay, because can we start from here? Because this is really like in B2C, it's quite common to have a phone number just to call out when you need, when you're a customer and you want to, get some information from your bank or from anything related to support. How did you bring this to B2B and what's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the best example is the Amazon one-click order. We have the Amazon one-click order. We have the Uber get my food delivered to my house in 20 minutes. We have the Airbnb book any house anywhere in one click. But when it comes to B2B, it's like you as the buyer, you have to jump through hoops in order to get in touch with the seller's team. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like a 30-year-old process. Contact forms were cool in 1995. They're not cool today. So, this I guess like is the fundamental the fundamental basis for what we do is really this, right? We give your B2B buyers an experience which they're used to in their B2C lives. And that is instant, immediate. In B2B, depending on your contract size, especially if you're selling enterprise or you're selling high ticket mid-market deals, like $10,000 and plus per year for software, your buyers are going to want to talk to somebody to make sure that it's the right decision, right? That they're not about to sign a $10,000 contract for the wrong software that doesn't fit their needs or the wrong vendor who can't support them. This is really where like a lot of companies are trying to automate this, but the $10,000 is not something you can automate. There's a lot of conversation that needs to go into it to make sure that it's the right choice for this company. And this is where a tool like Face-to-Face just really facilitates that. We remove a lot of the friction that currently exists in getting those conversations going, and that collapses the sales cycles. It gets you way more conversations. So you can call them demos, right? More demos, shorter sales cycles. You get the demos earlier in the buyer journey. So you get fresher buyers. I call that green demand. demand that hasn't been shopping around, right? It's like, it's fresh. It's from the farmer's market. And yeah, that you'll get more pipeline velocity, more demos, so more top. Your pipeline's bigger, you're closing more of it faster, and ultimately you're winning both against competition, but most importantly, you're winning against non-decision. Non-decision is like the biggest reason why deals fail. And you can put all these little things inside your product to try to help people. You can send them all these emails with these newsletters and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, the fastest way to get them to value is to give them an expert, somebody who knows what they're talking about. Just give it to them. 10 hours, here you go. Talk to the expert, have fun. Let's build the case with them and make sure that this thing you're about to pay us for, you're going to get value from. And this is also how if you do this correctly, your customers who buy from you will be better scoped, right? So they will get more value faster, and your LTV in consequence is going to be bigger. You will retain your customers for longer. You'll have higher ACVs. There's a lot that goes into this, right? It's quite for a simple shift, which is, let's remove the barrier to conversation. You get so much value from just doing this little shift.
And so you're kind of helping people change methodology in terms of how to approach the sales. Like, it's not only selling a SaaS, you're also changing the way they do sales. Like the traditional B2B these days is to have the filter, the form, the qualification, the pre-code, etc. And you kind of arrive and sell not only a SaaS, but a full new methodology for them to change how they approach new buyers. So isn't it hard for you to kind of fight this status quo of we have to have a form, we have to filter leads, etc.? Are you not just like, how do you find this? How do you convince your prospect to make the switch?
You know, when I started this, I thought we would just be selling a tool that everybody wants. And we sold the tool to a bunch of people who thought they wanted it. And then they realized that it was too much to implement, right? There was too much people and processes that needed to change for the technology to have its ROI. And you're absolutely right. We are selling a digital transformation, a process change. And my initial thesis of this is a plug and play tool, one line of code, it's true, but it doesn't work if you don't also change the people and the processes. And unfortunately, that's not just one line of code. So it's what I thought would be a difficulty 4 out of 10 is turning out to be a difficulty 9 out of 10 in terms of, me as the entrepreneur building a business out of this. It's almost turning into, I'm going to be known as the guy who made us go from forms and 2-day wait times to instant accessibility. I'm not going to be known for the technology. It's more like I'm going to be known for the methodology, right? And that's something that I'm increasingly becoming okay with. And I'm sort of growing into this new role of, I have to sell people on a new process, not just on tech.
Yeah, you have a specific, particular challenge of evangelism, not just SaaS, but really sales has to change. Like, the alternative to you would be put the phone number on the website and that'd be it. But you found a way to address kind of lots of objections, from what I understand you in your pitch. People that want to do this, to have their salespeople or product or experts available for buyers, they fear the too important volume that would take too much time for the teams, or the tooling processes and everything they have to set up in terms of how to organize the call, the video thing, etc. So you kind of simplify this, but how do you position yourself in for people that want this process, or are you in the goal of educating people around this way of working and why they should shorten their sales process?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have to break current. So in the way that we implement it, we can't just put a phone number. And the reason is, would you call a phone number? I know I wouldn't. I would expect that if I call a phone number, they're going to put me in front of some kind of queue, And then I have to remember, do I want option 1 through 3 or 4? And I don't remember what option 1 was by the time we get to option 4. And, you're just going through this call center experience, which nobody likes. And so the UX of just putting a phone number, even though you might achieve a very similar result, the call through rate on the phone number is going to be so bad, right? It's just the delta. You can't build emotion off of that. A big issue with the form is actually what I call the book a demo PTSD, which I'm about to publish a study. I've done social listening across thousands of posts where people complain about the demo process. And I've actually isolated the top reasons why. 60% of people 60% of people claim that they wasted their time when booking the demo. They wasted their time. 25% of people report, and this is B2B, right? 25% of people never got an answer, and 40% of people got bait and switched, where they were told they were going to get a demo, but really they got 1 or 2 discovery calls before they got to talk to an actual expert. And that took, anywhere between 2 to 10 days on the good side. A lot of what we have to do is break the codes, or we have to break the UX, and we have to sell companies on, hey, this UX doesn't work, right? You can't just put a phone number. It can't look like everything else. It has to look different, because that's how we're going to sell the user on, this is a better experience, right? And this is how we can drive up the click-through rate. And there's definitely this challenge of the right person at the right place, right time, right? With the right messaging. So we built our technology to be able to support that. We're tracking, once you put us on the website, we're tracking all your visitors. We know which pages they looked at, what things they clicked on, how engaged they were. And we're able from that to create profiles of users. And you can decide, when is somebody qualified enough to get access to the instant call option. For sites that have, if you currently are booking 50 demos a month, then maybe you don't care, right? If you have capacity to do 300 demos and you're doing 50, then my recommendation is, let's start without any filtering, and we can tighten the filtering as we go so that we can achieve the maximum amount of profitable conversations that your team can handle with the minimum amount of time wasters. So it's a whole process really to get this right. But from what we're seeing, it's a difference of a funnel that's converting at 30% versus a funnel that's converting at 45%. And when you do the delta between the two, is a $20,000 investment and a 6-month collaborative process of getting this right worth a 15% difference in conversions? For most businesses, it is, right? If you're doing 3 million, you're now doing 4.5 million. It's a pretty big delta just from hacking this. And there's a lot of other metrics that we're improving as well by doing this change, but it is a transformation.
It is. I just realized that you're going to be the fourth episode and the third French-speaking person. I love all the guests, but I don't know why I'm attracting all the French-speaking people. I'm guessing because I'm French, but yeah, that's funny. And no, but from what I understand, that's you address this problem in the gap between the capacity they have to deliver demos and the actual demand of demos they have. But also, there's a thing about buyer enablement, where you also kind of help them differentiate through the buying process. Having a better pre-buying experience helps your clients kind of differentiate between X and Y vendors, because they have a better experience for the first contact from the first touch point. And of course, there's the data at stake when you filter, of course, first with the right accounts. But that also shows that when you're the right fit, you're going to get a premium first touch and a demo right away. And it's a way to differentiate as well. But that's interesting. You have two angles, the differentiation and the capacity for demos. But okay, I want to know more about the company side, the business side. So how long has it been since you launched this, and what are your numbers right now? So we are in September 2025. Did you launch?
Yeah, I decided to start the company in June 2024. So that was a year and 3 months ago. So we're 15 months into the business at this point. pretty immediately, this is about traction, right? So I guess like I'll tell you the story. About a month after I decided to start this business, uh, we generated our first sales. So the initial traction was the same day that I got the idea. I started calling my friends who were founders, and I was like, "Hey, I had this idea. This is what it would look like." I put together a presentation, like 2 slides. And I'm like, when somebody logs into your software, I was big focus on PLG still today. It's like somebody signs up to your software, you know who they are, your sales team gets notified, your success team gets notified, and they can see what this guy is doing. And when this person reaches a critical activation point, you call them. So you can assist them to go through this activation point, make them feel really special. And then you can take the extra 10, 15, 20 minutes to show them all the like to help them get to value, and also give them the assurance that you're going to be there to help them solve this problem for which they picked you, right? So this is like a big one. This is typically where software companies, whenever you're buying a software, you're going to consider multiple vendors. And this moment in every software gets the opportunity, when they have a free trial, they get the opportunity to convert this person. Your ability to capitalize on this opportunity is the difference between, a 5% free to paid trial conversion rate and a 30% free to paid trial conversion rate. There's a lot of things you can do as a product manager to, tours, blah, 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 content, YouTube videos, all this stuff. But I found that, and we're seeing that with HairReach, it's a 34% delta in conversion rates when the people get on the call versus when they don't. It's huge. It's almost half as good as their PLG funnel. So that was the first thing I pitched to people. Got about 30 people that told me, yeah, great, love it, let us know when it's live. And then I was like, okay, this is cool, but I know all these guys. So let me actually go and talk to people I don't know. And one thing I did is I went on AppSumo and I scraped all of AppSumo and I found guys on LinkedIn. I found their LinkedIn profile. I messaged them with a bullshit story of, hey, I'm considering launching my thing on AppSumo. Could I ask you about your AppSumo experience? And surprisingly, out of 30, 10 accepted. And they scheduled the calls for the next 2 days after that. So I had these 10 calls, and out of 10 calls, so the calls went like this. First, we talk about them, their AppSumo journey. And at the end, they're like, what's your software? They're like, what are you doing? And then I go in and I explain it to them. I show them my 2-3 slide presentation. And at the end of it, I'm like, depending on their feedback, if they liked it, I'm like, would you be interested in a lifetime deal? Right. So AppSumo does lifetime deals. So I was like, hey, like, how about you strike me $100 today and you have access to it for the rest of your life. If I end up not building this thing, I'll just refund you. So I sold 3 out of 10, which was like a 30% conversion rate. Yeah. On this, like, really, it's like a reverse sell, you're like asking for AppSumo feedback, but you end up selling them your software. It's like, it's very out of the box. But it worked. And that to me was the initial validation. And then we kept going. Then we moved to a $1 per day paid annually model. And we started selling that in November. So we told people, you want face-to-face? No problem. Either it's $79 a month, although we didn't advertise that, or the beta is $1 per day paid annually. So it's $365 paid up front, which, when you do the math, it's pretty cool. You just got $365 for something that you don't even know if it works. And you have prepaid annual revenue. So you have 12 months to do whatever's in your power to get these people to value, activate them, figure it out. You just bought yourself a year of experimentation with this company. And I was able to sell about 55 of these we sold it until April. So from November until April, we sold these. Actually 60 of them. And yeah. And then in May, decided to, like some of our clients like HairReach had made hundreds of thousands of dollars using us, and they had very successful pilots. And then we started getting massive companies in our funnel, like, companies making 20 million ARR who were like, the CEO was like, oh yeah, we want this. What's the price? So I had to come up with a different price, right? I couldn't just tell them it's $1 a day because I knew they were going to get too much value from it. So then, we hiked it up. We're like, okay, it's going to be 2.5K for the first year. You have a cap on the minutes, and that went like this. We got zero objection. So then I was like, okay, it's not expensive enough. So then we went up to 5K, no objection. Then we went up to 10K, and now we're between 10 and 50K. We have a pretty big pipeline, like a lot of big companies. Surprisingly, there's almost no small companies. Everybody's like between 5 and 150 million ARR. And yeah, we mostly talk with product managers and heads of growth. That's mostly who comes in for us. As of today, we're around 100K ARR. If you look at the renewal value of our contracts, and yeah, that's where we're at.
Congrats, amazing. Well done. Especially the part on the validation first through AppSumo, that's clever. So yeah, so this, like the use case for the sales aspect of the website is a part of your offering, but from what I understand, it's still the activation part as for users when you said you help product managers or head of growth mostly. It's mostly when they come to you with the pain point of, oh, we have to activate more users or more accounts when they start using our product, or they. So it's your entry point. It's the pain point you focus on.
Look, I think they're both equally as powerful, but there's this magical thing with companies that are product led is they have this amazing position, which is the product marketing manager. And this person is responsible for something called a conversion rate, right? And that's something that sales-led companies don't have. Sales-led companies hire an agency to build their website, and that's pretty much it. And then they get most of their business through outbound sales, right? They go to conferences, they do outbound and whatever. And nobody really looks at the website. Maybe they have someone doing conversion rate optimization, but even that's pretty rare until they scale to a certain point. And, and even then, they're typically, very outbound focused. And so what I found is even though there's multiple websites that are sales led that don't have a free trial. We're on there and we're generating hundreds of calls per week. The big issue is there's very little willingness from those teams to actually go in and perfect the motion. This is a tool which you need to optimize the segmenting and the targeting. We need to work with their team to get this right. Otherwise, they're either flooded with calls or they don't have enough calls because the copy doesn't convert. And so it's either one. With product-led companies, we have champions inside the business, right? The product marketing managers who are, addicted to data, right? They love data. They love UX. They love conversion rate optimization. Yeah. And so it's like we have a partner inside the company who we can work with to make it work, right? On top of that, we have all the data from the product, which again, it's super easy. We know who the person is because we have their email. So it's like 100% accuracy in terms of targeting. And yeah, it's, it's a lot easier when you're working with a team of people inside the business who are incentivized to make this work, right? They really care. It's part of their success as well, right? If they can get the conversion rate up from a 5 to a 15, it doesn't matter if it was, they're incentivized to do that, right? It's part of their career. That's what they're there to do. The sales-led companies typically don't have someone responsible for that. That key thing there is really important, right? Having that champion where your software and the result that you deliver is aligned with what this company, like that person in the company wants to do. It's super important.
I think every product marketing manager who's listening to this is gonna first find your tool valuable. Face-to-face sounds awesome for them, for the in-house role at least, and from what I understand. But also from a product marketing strategy point of view, you have nailed everything. You validated the ID first, got the initial traction, you target the champion directly. So it's not just random people in a company, in a business. It's really people that see the problem and they want to achieve something, and you help them achieve what they want to do when they were already trying to achieve without you. And you put your offer as part of their success. It's like the bridge. the bridge to reach what they are looking for. This is amazing in terms of positioning. I want to understand more about the business aspect for your business, because you got this initial idea and validation. You got this growing pipeline. I remember you used your tool for yourself, right? You use face-to-face for your own. So you have all of these calls to handle as well. How did you go? Did you raise some funds at the beginning?
No, we started completely bootstrapped, and we actually raised from customers back in February. We had a lot of traction in November, December, and then with the holidays in January, the hype died down. And then, we're like, okay, like, and a couple of my clients were like, hey, Nick, we absolutely love this. Would you like us to invest in you? The guys from Expandy, for example, they're doing like 10 million ARR, bootstrapped, very profitable. They're like, hey, like, let us know. Like, we're happy to invest. And he told me that back in December. And in February, I'm like, yeah, we could use a little capital injection. So I hit up some customers. We raised $50K from customers, and that helped us continue. We're a pretty small team. We're very frugal. The whole team, is less than 10K. We're burning less than 10K with 5 engineers. It's it's quite rare. Whole team is in Eastern Europe, which helps, with the cost, and very skilled talent. So, that's what it looks like. Right now we're actually in the process of raising a bigger round for a proper pre-seed, and that's going to help us really focus on the product and replicating what we were able to do with our most successful pilots onto more pilots, right? 10x the number of successful pilots. That way we have a very replicable model that we can just continue shipping. And, very interesting thing is happening for us. We started with the LinkedIn automation space with 2 big clients, right? HeyReach and Expandy, which are very popular companies. Currently, we have about 35% of the entire LinkedIn automation category as our customers. It's nuts. Like, we have 10 companies who are in the LinkedIn automation category who are either closed, being implemented, or in the pipeline, about to close or somewhere there. A lot of inbound from them. Outbound campaigns convert really well since, I just mentioned the other guys and everybody's like, okay, like, it's important. And I think we're going to have similar results with other niches. And this is why I think for the next year, big focus is to find teams that have a very high willingness to do product-led sales, right? So talk to their signups who have a complex or, a product where there is an upsell, there's like a higher tier to the standard free trial. And I'm looking for, ideally great PMs, since we work with the PMs, but it can be another role. It doesn't have to be the PM, but essentially to champion this so that we can work close together, measure the data, make it a very scientific experiment, make sure that we understand what's going on, and basically build these cases together.
Okay. And so how many clients do you have right now?
We're close to 70 paying customers.
70. Okay. That's funny how you got the success in this niche. Do you know why you got the success in this automation space? I'm guessing it's a lot of PLG companies there, I'm guessing.
Yes, and also it's like a very competitive space, it's a churn heavy space, right? It's a churn heavy space, and it's very hard for you to decide which tool you want to use. Thankfully, because I was going to conferences and I interviewed 350 SaaS founders, like some of them were the founders of HeyReach, and then I met the founder of Expandy, and that we really liked each other. We built a good relationship, and we're, some of the first people to hop on board. And when we got them successful, the other ones saw that and they're like, wait, HeyReach is offering in-app video calls and that's helping them convert 34% more agencies that pay them $20,000 a year. What? And then they're like, okay. And HeyReach grew really fast. They went from 1 million to 7 million in 12 months. So everybody's looking at them, and then we're there, and so we're getting that collateral damage.
So the fact that it's competitive market helps you for the first sale plus two for the second one as well. It shows the value of your tool, and then all the competitors want as well. That's double gain for you.
Yeah, and in pierre de coup, yes. And if you look at it, like, if you're in a very competitive space, having a tool like face-to-face it's a real advantage. It's really an advantage because your competitors, they can have you guys have similar products, whatever, but when a big buyer signs up to both your products and you are there to help them and you're super available, it's really easy for them to talk to you. Maybe even if they prefer the other product, because you are the ones who's accessible and helping them get the value and you're there, your likeliness of getting the deal is probably 10x higher than the other guys just because you're available, right? Because you can help them. I'm like super busy in my day to day. When I was 17, 18, 19 years old, I was a head of RevOps for a massive 10 million ARR B2B SaaS. In my third year there, I was running a over 7-figure SaaS budget. I had over $1 million to buy software. And my biggest thing every time I bought software was how much support can I get from them? Because I'm responsible for 50 SaaS tools. I don't have the time to learn how everything works. I want to make sure that these guys have the ability to help me make sure that this is going to work. And you can't mess this up because you're usually signing annual contracts. And you have a cost of, I had 5 people on my team. If I wasted 40 hours implementing this, that's like 1 week gone of like one guy, and we can't get that time back. So very big differentiating factor for anyone that's selling, high ticket upsells in a competitive market with a PLG motion. It's like all these RevOps people that are going to consider implementing your tool, you're really making their life a lot easier if they can just talk to your team like this.
So you had the double experience from a vendor and a seller and a buyer. Like
I started as a
tried,
buyer. Yeah. I started my career
you
as
saw
a
that
buyer.
pain. So you saw
I
the
did.
end customer's perspective.
Yeah. And this is why I know, this is why to me it might seem like a crazy idea. It's like you're fighting against status quo. Like everybody has the same funnel. Nobody has instant accessibility. Like it's not like we're taking something that we know works. We assumed it worked. We tested it. It worked. And now we have to show that it works to everybody else and convince them to switch your funnels to it. It could be a very long process. We might win big, or we might get completely fucked out of this market by somebody who comes in with more money and says like, oh, this is working. Let's just outcompete Nick. But to me, it's like, this needs to happen. Right. I fundamentally believe whether I make it happen or someone else makes it happen, who cares? The thing that needs to happen is this change in the process, because we are 30 years behind B2C. The sales teams, success teams, they're huge and they have a bunch of people sitting around. According to Salesforce, 70% of the time reps are not talking to customers. They're doing all kinds of other BS. Pardon my French. All kinds of other stuff that they could be talking to customers, and actually the business wants them to talk to customers. So why are we not doing it? And this is the gap.
You have your way to show the different perspective until people change their mind, and I think that's quite important. I mean, you show the stats and everything, but I want to know more about your strategy for the business part, because you said if someone comes with more money, they might go faster than you. And you just said you were going to raise like a seed round to focus on the product and nailing it. And you managed to get some clients through the cold call, the networking, all the relationship you had, and attracting a few competitors of your clients as well. How will you, like, once you get this product right with your seed round, you go a bit faster on this, what do you plan to do to accelerate all that? What's your plan behind it?
I think there's a couple different things. Essentially, this is, it's a very similar play to when Salesforce came in and they made the CRM go cloud, right? Before that, everybody had either no CRM or they had some kind of disk on their hard drive in their house, and in the basement of their company, and they were running all their CRM on that, and it was very inefficient. It's different, but it's somewhat similar. And the way that Salesforce did it, I don't know what we'll end up doing. We have a strategy. But is that exactly what's going to happen? Who knows? The key thing here is there's a certain amount of people who are responsible for building and engineering and maintaining and deciding what the funnel looks like. It's a limited amount of people. Every company has maybe 1, 2, or 3 people whose opinion decides how do we generate business. It's not much more than that. And so one thing that we need to do really well, it's get into the minds of these people, right? Get into their orbit, make them aware of the inefficiency, show them the better way, and then slowly as they get time to start new initiatives, as they start reprioritizing things, blah, 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 they're going to start adopting this new model. So we have, I would say like the next 2 years are all about, first of all, proving the model. It needs to be irrefutable. It needs to be Gartner, Forrester, Harvard Business Review approved, right? There need to be headlines that say like, why do you still have forms? Like start talking face to face, connect instantly in 60 seconds. That the trusted authorities in the market are sharing, irrespective of us. Like there could be 3, 4 other companies that pop up that start doing this. It doesn't matter. The main thing is really for this to propagate. Because if you look at the entire B2B space, everybody that has forms on their websites, that has no instant connectivity in their funnels, companies that have, that give a chatbot to somebody paying them $50,000 a year, it's a lot of companies. It's like millions of businesses, right, that are in the B2B space. It's a huge market. It's a massive market. Not even Salesforce captured that entire market. Salesforce has about 200,000 customers. HubSpot has another, 200,000. It's a really big market. And the way that I look at it is once this happens, right? Once the first 10,000 companies adopt this, it will snowball. And then we're looking at a 10-year transformation of the entire market. Some people will go with AI, and then they're going to see that their conversion rates are dropping, and then they're going to adopt us, right? But it will take them like 2 years to realize that AI can't service customers the same way that you can, right? And then they're going to rehire their sales teams. And there's going to be all this transformation happening, and we're going to grow in accordance to how does the market adopt the technology. We're in a blue ocean, right? So we need to, Jeffrey Moore, the crossing the chasm, the technology adoption curve. Yeah. What we need to do right now is get the innovators and the early adopters really bought in. And we need to use those guys to demonstrate that this method is 10 times better than the current way of doing things. And then we're effectively going to be competing with the thesis of everything can be automated. That's going to be like our biggest competitor is going to be everything can be automated. You don't need humans, blah, 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 which is a very real phenomenon. We're betting on is everything is being automated. Therefore, the value of human connection goes up. Human connection is necessary to close big deals because it's too important of a decision for the person making it to not have an expert consult them. AI is not the expert. AI is very skilled, but it's not an expert. And therefore, there's this gap. And companies will oscillate between our thesis and the automate everything thesis. And this oscillation will last a few years before we arrive to a consensus of, 80% of people will say, yeah, okay, automate this, don't automate that. And this is where, then the next 2-3 decades, this is how we operate. And I think that if we play our cards right, we position ourselves early as the thought leader here, we will benefit from these oscillations throughout the process. And in the end, as a good capitalist, we can end up with 80% of this market in terms of revenue size. But yeah.
So interesting. So if I like exaggerate and summarize what you said, you plan to stay lean and frugal to build a really good use cases and prove that you have the best method. Then you can a few more accounts and expand in the different segments of the big market until you can step by step see and start advocating for the change and become the number one by being the first one, kind of because you were already the first one with the face-to-face. And you hope for this change that's coming across to naturally position you as one of the top players in this upcoming space.
Yeah. The key thing is, you need to have the best product, but then your product needs to have a growing market fit. The market needs to be adopting your product. If right now there's only 1,000 companies that would adopt my product today, if they knew about it, and I have 50 of them, that's great. I just need to keep that 5% as the market grows, and what my effort needs to be is making the market grow. Today, I truly believe that most companies have no idea this is possible. And those that do, there's like an 80-20 in terms of they believe in it or not. And then the 20 of them, there's like 25% of them who would implement it today. So it's like a very small pool of people. We need to grow that pool. And the only way you do that is through time, because you can't just do it, overnight. It's not a marketing dollar type of play. It's a rational, we're selling something that's very rational. We're not selling a hype. It's what we're doing right now, right? We're talking face to face. I'm just selling you that with great timing, in a way that can increase your conversions. It's very simple. It's not, and so you can't really hype up. Maybe you can. I don't know. I guess I'll learn as I go.
Yeah, you have the best start. I think every product marketers who's listening will see how you have a super clear ICP, the problem, the change, and you even have the growing demand, so all the checkbox. And what is the biggest blocker, the biggest fear you have regarding your future with face-to-face?
It's this ideological war between the automate everything and the human connection is important. There's these two ideologies. And how is that going to play out? The truth is, I don't know. I have a bunch of arguments in both directions. I can argue one, I can argue the other. At the end of the day, as Warren Buffett would say, the only judge is the market. And the market might reward us greatly, or the market might exterminate us. And we don't know. This is, I think, my biggest fear is, the biggest threat to our business is AI, right? And if AI ends up reshaping completely these processes in a way that the human is absolutely obsolete in the entire B2B software shopping process. Like, if tomorrow there's no more B2B software because somehow AI, was like this super thing that just removes completely the need for anyone to buy any software, then sure, or if, there's a lot of ifs, and I think just like any other company, it's like, will your thesis be right? If I remove the factor running out of runway, not being able to get my clients activated, if I remove all of these, which are solvable problems, right? You can always raise money. You can always find ways to activate clients. Like, these are solvable problems. The thing that I can't physically solve, it's what will the market decide in the end. Thesis is right. If you're doing you can have a plan A, you can have a plan B, but if you go to plan Z, that's a complete pivot of your entire company.
If I can reassure you, I think you have customers that are asking you to invest in your business. So I'm guessing it's a right product market fit for now. If you can be reassured by that for now, and I think you'll be able to stay objective and to see if you need to pivot or not in the later on. But yeah, that was really interesting. Nick, I'm running out of questions, and I think it's already been almost an hour we've been talking, so we should stop there. Where should we follow you? Is it LinkedIn? Where should we follow you? Face to face?
Yeah, you can follow us on LinkedIn. I'm Nick Tomich on LinkedIn, so you can just find me there. If you want to geek out, you can also call me on my website. I'm usually available. I have a 65% answer rate on my website calls. So go ahead and call me. There's 2 chances out of 3 that you reach me.
Man, that must take so much time of your day. You have too many calls. You have so popular. You have so many visitors. I know you get calls every day. That's taking much of your time. But that's amazing.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
it's a good problem to have.
It's nice to keep using your software and you keep doing it. That's nice. So, congrats, Nick. Thanks for coming by and have a great one. And good luck for the rest.
Thank you, Gaspar. Have a good one.
Merci.